Hello everybody and welcome back to the Crooked Hour. In this episode we're going to be going over quick picks for UFC Joe Pyfer versus Jack Hermansson, the fight night. Full card picks, quick picks. We're going to go over the prelims quickly, break down the main card a little bit more, but we're going to keep it short and sweet, starting with Daniel Marcos versus Aoriqileng. Keeping it simple, I just think Daniel Marcos is the cleaner, quicker, better striker here. 15-0 versus Aoriqileng, 25-10. Kileng can bang. He's got some power, but he's not like, he doesn't have like Francis Ngannou power. He's not a guy that you have to look at that will just start you. It is an option. He does have it in his game, but I think Daniel Marcos is just going to be the cleaner striker here. Reach is the same. What else are we looking for? Significant strikes actually favours Kileng. The stats sort of favour Kileng, but I'm going to go Daniel Marcos. I think he'll look like the cleaner striker here and get the win. What am I going with? I'm going to say he wins by decision. I think he wins every single round with maybe a little bit of a tough first round. Next up on the card, Fernie Garcia versus Hyder Amil. Now, I was actually going to go at the underdog of Fernie Garcia. I'm not a big fan of Hyder Amil. He looks kind of vulnerable in all of his fights. You see moments where in the grappling, he looks a little bit, iffy. But I think Fernie Garcia hasn't won a fight in the UFC yet, if I am correct. I think Hyder Amil will get him here. I just think he's better grappler. On the feet, it's close, but I think Hyder Amil will be able to keep up. But I think he'll be able to use his grappling here. Fernie Garcia isn't amazing on the ground. It's not like he's going to be the one to catch Hyder Amil in a bad spot. Hyder Amil has a reach advantage. That's what I look for a lot of the time, especially when the striking is closer. And I think Fernie Garcia might have a slight striking advantage, but Hyder Amil has that reach to kind of keep him away, get the takedowns where he needs to. He's got a significant strike accuracy advantage, and he's not that lower in the significant strikes landed per minute market. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm going to go Hyder Amil, wins by decision. I'm going to go 2-1 though. I think Fernie Garcia might steal in a round here. Next up, Pauga versus Bogdan Guskov. Now, Bogdan Guskov fought Volkan. I think that's correct. I don't know if I'm getting the wrong fighter, but I'm pretty sure he fought Volkan. And lost pretty badly, but he's fighting Pauga. And Pauga ain't great. He has slimmed down to light heavyweight, so credit to him. He didn't fit heavyweight. But I think Bogdan Guskov is going to have an advantage here in the power, and I think he's going to catch him. Bogdan is a finisher. Pauga isn't. He got one KO win on the Contender Series, but other than that, he doesn't show power, and he got chinned by Mo Usman. I think Bogdan Guskov is going to do the same thing here. Pauga is no Volkan. So I think he's going to starch him. My official pick. What is my official pick? I just said I think Pauga is going to be winning until he isn't. And I think he's going to get chinned in the late first round by Bogdan Guskov. That is my pick. Next up, Max Griffin versus Jeremiah Wells. I'm going with Max Griffin here. I think Max Griffin's going to win. Not the biggest fan of Jeremiah Wells. A thing going into this fight is, Max Griffin's, he's a lot older. That's what people are saying. But if you actually look, he's only a year older. Jeremiah Wells, not impressed a lot of the time. His striking is a little bit iffy, but he does pack power, and that's one thing you got to look out for. Max Griffin has the reach advantage, and I'll go with that with everything, but it is useful. He has a 2-inch reach advantage. He has the height advantage by 2 inches as well. I think he's going to be able to pick at Jeremiah Wells. Might have some tough moments with the grappling, but Max Griffin, hard guy to take down and a hard guy to keep down. So I think Max Griffin going to defend the takedowns, outstrike Wells, and he does have a decent chin. Not the best chin, but he does have a decent chin. And I think he wins a unanimous decision. Maybe 2-1, Max Griffin. That's my pick. Next up, Devin Clark versus Marcin Prachnio. This is probably an uncommon pick, but I do not like Devin Clark. I never have liked Devin Clark. I think I've heard Dan Hardy say it before, and I agree 100%. Devin Clark is a quitter. He's not in there to fight. He's just in there to, give it a crack, and when things get tough, he breaks. Devin Clark breaks. Now, I think Marcin Prachnio, he's not great, but he does have the striking advantage here. And what does Devin Clark have? Holding him up against the fence, using his strength. That's all Devin Clark's got, in my opinion, holding him up against the fence. Maybe he could get some takedowns, but he's not like a freak on the ground. Striking isn't bad, but Marcin Prachnio's sort of karate-like style, I think that's going to be enough to steal rounds here. And what did I write down? I think he's going to jam body kicks. I do think he's going to jam body kicks here against Devin Clark. I think that's going to be a big weapon. Teeps, body kicks, leg kicks, just kicks in general, mixing in his hands decently. As I said, Clark could possibly hold him up against the fence and win a boring decision. But I'm actually going to go Marcin by body kick in round 2, but it's not going to be like fatal. But I think Devin Clark's going to quit because he's a quitter, in my opinion. I wouldn't want to fight him. I'd quit against him. But I'm just saying, for UFC standards, Devin Clark's a little bit of a quitter. So I think Marcin Prachnio is going to steal this one. Second round KO, body kicks is my prediction. Moving up, Loma Lookboonmee versus Bruna, Brasil. This is pretty clear to me. Oh, I sound like I was about to cry then. But this is pretty clear to me. I think Loma Lookboonmee's going to win. And I think she's going to do it dominantly. I think she can compete on the ground nicely. I think she's got a massive striking advantage. Bruna Brasil has the reach advantage though, so I'm picking her. Nah, just joking. But I think Loma Lookboonmee's a little bit better everywhere, especially on the feet. I think she keeps up on the ground, and that's all it really comes down to. She's just the better fighter. And I think she's going to go, what did I say? I think she's going to get a unanimous and pretty dominant decision over Bruna Brasil. Next up, Bolaji Oki versus Timothy Cuba. So I think Timothy Cuba actually came up on short notice, because in my notes here, was he meant to fight Damir? But I don't know anything about Timothy Cuba. I'm not going to lie to you, and I only just saw this now, so I ain't going to cap. But I'm going to stick with Bolaji Oki for the same points I wrote down. He's got the cleaner, better overall striking. I can't really say that because I haven't seen him fight, but he's a great striker, got clean striking, and he's got good takedown defense. I think he's going to win here. I'm going with him. You know, he's got one more win than Timothy Cuba, better experience, you know what I'm saying? Got that reach advantage, more significant strikes landed per minute, better striking average, accuracy, sorry. I think he's going to win. I'm going to go by KO. Let's just say in the third round by body shots. I'm going body shots again. Next up, Trevin Giles versus Carlos Prates. Carlos Prates is good, man. He's good, and he's on a massive winning streak. He's made like a second level in his game, but Trevin Giles isn't bad. He's not like bottom of the barrel, but he's close to it. But I think it's going to be a little bit of a closer fight than people are saying. I do honestly think Carlos Prates does get the finish, but I think until then, Trevin Giles is going to have moments with his takedowns. He's going to sort of be having moments, close fight until it isn't type of thing. I think Carlos Prates better striker. I think he has the grappling to compete with Trevin Giles. It's not like Trevin Giles is a freak grappler. I'm going Carlos Prates. I think he could win a decision or possibly a third round TKO finish, but I'm actually going to go late second round TKO finish or early third round to late third round TKO finish. I think he hurts Giles on the feet. Giles can be chinny. And I think his grappling's only going to work for so long until Prates figures him out. Now onto the main card, we got Rodolfo Vieira versus Armen Petrosyan. I have Armen Petrosyan. Rodolfo Vieira isn't bad, and he definitely could win here. Like, it could be a fight where everybody's like... See, fighting's a weird thing, because you can be so set on a prediction, and then it can go terribly wrong. Like, I could be like, yeah, Armen Petrosyan, such a better striker, just going to keep him on the feet, hurt him, outpick him. But then what happens if Rodolfo Vieira gets his takedowns going and gets Armen Petrosyan to the ground, and Armen Petrosyan has a bad time getting up? So this is definitely a close fight, really close fight. But I'm going Armen Petrosyan. I think when I originally picked this fight before it was rebooked, I was going with Armen Petrosyan. I honestly think he's just going to be able to pick at him, defend the takedowns, body kicks, leg kicks, nice clean boxing, straight punches. I think he's going to have a big striking advantage here. Rodolfo Vieira is stiff on the feet, tight boxing, but sort of like sloppy boxing at the same time. And I honestly do think Armen Petrosyan's grappling is looking better than it ever has. I think he's making big leaps in his grappling, and you got to think he's trained for this fight 2 times in a row. A lot of takedown defense, a lot of grappling defense. I think he's going to hurt Rodolfo Vieira multiple times on the feet here. I think he's going to end up getting a third round finish for himself after having Rodolfo Vieira on skates a lot of time in the fight. But I think he's going to close the show in the third round. I'm going Armen Petrosyan via TKO. Hurts him with a straight right. Shots up against the fence. Ref calls it off. Next up, Michael Johnson versus Darrius Flowers. I'm putting me life on the line here. Michael Johnson via knockout. He's getting the job done. Anyone picking Darrius Flowers, get out of here. If Darrius Flowers wins, don't clip this. Don't comment. I'll admit I would be wrong. But I think Michael Johnson's going to KO him. If he KOs him, at least have that bragging right of saying, I called this shit. I fucking called it. Everybody doubting Michael Johnson, but Michael Johnson's going to go out there and sleep fucking Darrius Flowers. 1 in 10 in boxing. Shout out to MMA experts. I heard him say that. MMA experts, I know you're on Darrius Flowers, but I have to go against you here. I have to go against you. I'm going to say Michael Johnson. This is going to be a good boxing fight, though. All jokes aside, this is going to be a good boxing fight. I think we're going to see a boxing fight with little to no kicks. I don't think we're going to see much ground game. I think both of these men are going to want to strike on the feet. I know Michael Johnson's 37, but he does have a slight reach advantage. I know 2 inches doesn't really matter. I think as I wrote here, I think we have a dog scrap, like a dog fight. And I think Johnson's going to use his experience. And I wrote it down here. My opinion's slightly different, but I'm sticking with it. Michael Johnson via first round knockout after a bit of a scrap. Both men get a little bit clipped. Michael Johnson boxes him up, KOs Darrius Flowers. Darrius Flowers is getting slept. Michael Johnson, we're getting the good version of him. We're getting the version of him that wobbled Khabib. That's the vision of him we're getting. So Michael Johnson, first round KO. That's my prediction. Brad Tavares versus Gregory Rodriguez. Now, I do like Brad Tavares, you know. He looked calculated in his last fight against Chris Weidman. I know he couldn't put him out, but he did look calculated. I really did like the leg kicks. But the thing is, when you're fighting Gregory Rodriguez, you got to have some type of real power. Like, you got to have some real power because Gregory Rodriguez is chinny, but he's not like chinny to the point where, don't explain it. Like, a normal shot isn't going to put him out, but a shot that fucking winds up, collects him, is likely to put him out type of thing. I think it does take a little bit to put Gregory Rodriguez out. You need power like that guy, what's his name? The Mini Hulk or whatever, the last guy he fought. You need power like him, and Brad Tavares doesn't have that power, and I don't think I think Gregory Rodriguez is very technical, and I think you don't want to go technical with Gregory Rodriguez, especially with the power he packs and the grappling he can mix in. Brad Tavares has great takedown defense, but I think Gregory Rodriguez is going to hurt him on the feet here and KO him in... What did I write down? I might as well go for what I wrote down instead of going off the cuff. I said I think he catches him in the third round. I could see it earlier than that, though, to be fair. So I'm going to go second round. I think it's going to be a bit of back and forth. Like, I think Brad Tavares is going to have his moments where he's scoring shots, but I think Gregory Rodriguez is going to be hitting the much more damaging shots, like body kicks, just more thudding shots. Gregory Rodriguez has really thudding shots. He has a nice jab too. And he has been training with Alex Pereira, I believe. So that will elevate him up even further. 1 inch reach advantage, 2 inch height advantage. I think this is a bad matchup from Brad Tavares, although I don't think he looks bad until he gets chinned. That's my prediction. Gregory Rodriguez, second round KO. Now, I don't know why this fight's here. I don't. So I brought in something special for this fight. The magic coin. I am going Ihor Potieria. That is my pick, but I don't really care about this fight. I don't know much about Robert Brisky. I watched a fight from him, but in my eyes, they look like very similar fighters. Both with massive holes in their games. Both look good until they don't. So we're flipping the coin. We're flipping it first to see who we're picking. Heads is going to be Ihor Potieria. Tails is going to be Robert Brisky. Heads. So we're going to Ihor Potieria. I think I said that right. I don't know if I forgot that. I'm going to go KO decision because I don't see a sub coming in here. Let's see. Tails for KO. Heads for decision. heads. We're going Ihor Peteria via decision. I've researched this fight so much. I can just see him picking Robert Brisky apart, winning rounds. But all jokes aside, Ihor Peteria did look decent in his last fight, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. And he was having moments. He was hurting his opponent in moments. I'll have to double check who he fought last real quick. Let me check. Who did he fight last? Velado? Rodolfo. Yeah, that was close. That was close fight. He was hurting Velado in moments there. He was really hurting Velado in moments there. And I thought, fuck, Ihor Peteria, I sort of underrated him. He sort of impressed me in that fight until he didn't. And I don't mind his chances here going to a decision. Yeah, not much more to say. Let's see if the coin's right. Could be the start of something special. Next up, Dan Ige versus Andre Fili. Now, I've got an unpopular pick here. I'm going Fili. He's got the power of the big booty Latinas on his side. So, I think it's hard to beat him here. He's just got him on his mind. That's his driving factor. He knows if he can win, he can get some more big booty Latinas in his life. But I actually like his style here against Dan Ige. I like his style here against Dan Ige. He's going to be the taller, longer fighter. I like his style. He's mixing him with the kicks, leg kicks, this boxing. I think Dan Ige is going to be the cleaner boxer, but I think Andre Fili is going to be the cleaner kickboxer, and I think that's how he's going to win this fight. And I think Andre Fili could mix it up with the grappling too here. I don't think he's going to do anything crazy on the ground, but after watching Dan Ige's last fight against Bryce Mitchell, I know Andre Fili's not no Bryce Mitchell, but I think he could definitely have moments on the ground where, he could use it to his advantage. And I think that's what's going to win his fight. He's got a more complete game than Dan Ige. Although Dan Ige is a much better boxer, Andre Fili's going to mix it all in. But I do think it's going to be a back and forth fight and fight of the night. That's what I've written down. I do believe that. And I pretty much just wrote down everything else I just said. I think he outpoints Ige to a decision after a very back and forth fight. I think there's going to be a round Dan Ige wins, probably the final round or the first round. I could see Andre Fili definitely stealing that second round. But I think it's going to be one of those fights where you don't quite know who won until the decision comes. And I think it's going to go Andre Fili's way, just being a little bit more active and busy, and I think it's going to sort of steal it away from Dan Ige. And Andre Fili's coming in on short notice, so he's got less to lose, sort of filling in, calm, and he just got a KO in his last fight. I'm going Andre Fili. Final fight of the night. I gotta say, these fight nights are getting a little bit ridiculous. Joe Pyfer in the main event. He's got like 3-4 fights in the UFC. It's evident they're trying to boost this guy up. I get it, he's an entertaining fighter, but he's not like entertaining outside of his fights. Like, who is a massive Joe Pyfer fan? Like, who's watching his interviews like, fuck, this guy's interesting. I love this guy. Don't know why this is the main event. Would have made it for a good co-main event. Have someone a little bit more stacked up on this main event. Sorry, I couldn't speak then. But I'm going Joe Pyfer. Me saying I don't know how he's such a big fighter. I do think he is a good fighter, though. And I think he's going to beat Jack Hermansson. Jack Hermansson with that awkward kickboxing style on the outside. Weird, awkward kicks. Good ground game, as we all know. Good jiu-jitsu, but vulnerable in moments. We saw that in his fight against Roman Dolidze. I think Joe Pyfer's gonna catch him here. And I think Jack Hermansson will be looking good early. I especially think in the first half of the first round. I think Jack Hermansson's going to be looking good, and people are going to be like, oh shit, is Jack Hermansson like gonna take this fight? But then I think Joe Pyfer's going to start taking over with his grappling, but also with his power. I know they say he hits harder than Francis Ngannou. Don't know if I believe that. Honestly, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist guy, but I think that might just be trying to put one over Francis Ngannou. But he must hit hard nonetheless. I think he must hit very hard, and it shows in his fights. Didn't really write down a round prediction, but I'm going to say second round KO for Joe Pyfer here. I think the first round's going to be close. Jack Hermansson taking the first half just with his awkward kicks, awkward movement. Trying for takedowns. I don't think he gets any. I think Joe Pyfer defends them. But then I think I can just see Joe Pyfer coming in with a straight right. after defending a takedown or something and clipping Jack Hermansson and then finishing him up on the ground. That's what I see happening here. Not a lot else to be said. I just see the fight being semi-close and Joe Pyfer sort of taking over the fight as it goes on, and then Joe Pyfer eventually finishing Jack Hermansson. I think this is his fight to win. I think they picked a good matchup for him, because if this was a Marvin Vettori or something, I'd be picking Marvin Vettori. But he could prove me here. He could prove me wrong here. I'm going Joe Pyfer. I think he beats Jack Hermansson. I think he's just a little bit too... He doesn't have the chin for it, and he doesn't have the defense for it, and his style only works for so long. Like, especially against somebody like Joe Pyfer, and this is a 5-round fight. He's going to get caught eventually, in my opinion. And I'm saying the second round. I think Joe Pyfer tracks him down and clobbers him. But that's all my picks. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let's see how we go on this card. And as always, guys, have a good one. I'm so excited for the next pay-per-view. Robert Whittaker, Volkanovski, get fucking excited. But as always, guys, I really got to piss. Have a good one.
Give me 5 minutes, I'ma pull up with like 5 niggas. Give me 5 minutes, girl, I'ma be right with you. If you're vibing